Oh, so, I love it. I love it. Hello, good afternoon, everybody. This video is mostly about Tulsi Gabbard suing Hillary Clinton. Ooh, I love it. I love it. I love it because Tulsi Gabbard is the only person willing to stand up to the Clinton bots. I love it. I think it's amazing. She stepped to Hillary Clinton in 2016, and she's standing up to Hillary Clinton now. Do I think she's going to win the case? Of course not. Defamation is very, very, very hard to prove, especially when you're a public figure and you have freedom of speech. So I think it's going to be very hard for her to win this. But I think it's more so as you can't say things like this about people. You know, Hillary Clinton thinks that she's untouchable. She thinks she's unstoppable. You know, again, she just made a video about her saying how Bernie Sanders is disliked and nobody likes him and this, that, and the third, and still calling Bernie's supporters Bernie bros, which is weird because Bernie bros was supposed to be like for the white boys. Only white men were voting for Bernie Sanders. Like white men, I think between the ages of like 24 and 34 or something like that. Which is very weird because what you're doing when you say that is you're taking away all the votes he's getting from minorities. You're taking all the votes he's getting from African Americans, from Latinos, from Asians. It's not just white people voting for Bernie Sanders. You know, it's so crazy that people really think that. There's a lot of African Americans voting for Bernie Sanders. There's a lot of Latinos voting for Bernie Sanders, and I think that's very it's not fair for Hillary Clinton and for the establishment media to say things like that. They don't want to say that Bernie Sanders is winning in a lot of polls. They don't want to say that he has a vast majority vote of the African American community. They don't want to say these things, you know, and it's because they want an establishment candidate to win. You know, they want either like Joe Biden or even Pete Buttigieg to win, and it's just not going to happen. It's not. It's either going to be Joe Biden, yes, or Bernie Sanders. It's not going to be anybody else. You know, and it's sad that they're pushing for that. They're pushing for the establishment candidate to win. Joe Biden can't even finish a thought when he is on that debate stage against fellow Democrats. What makes anybody think he's going to be fit to face Donald Trump in a debate? Let's be honest. Let's keep it real. He's not going to be able to do any of that. You know, and all of these candidates have flaws. And Donald Trump is very strategic when it comes down to putting their flaws out there. See, Donald Trump can't do that with Bernie Sanders. He just can't. Because honestly, the way Bernie Sanders has voted, his legislation, things that he has pushed, they're all positive. They all affected people in a positive way, except for the crime bill, which technically he wasn't for until they put in the Violence Against Women Act. Like, let's be honest about that as well. But yeah, I think it's disgusting that the media is really making it seem as if Bernie Sanders doesn't have a chance of winning, which he obviously does, and that really petrifies them. And the way you also know that Bernie Sanders has a very big chance of winning this primary is because CNN is actually putting progressives on their channel. They have people like Crystal Ball, they have people like Annika Sparrow, which Annika Sparrow, I feel, is holding back a lot because I've seen her interviews. I mean, I've seen her like debating on CNN, and you can tell she's holding back a lot because you see when she's on the Young Turks and she's doing when she's doing a story on the Young Turks to when she's on CNN. There is a big difference, and I understand why, because you know they're giving them a big platform to be able to express their thoughts and the actual facts. You know, which media doesn't do. CNN, MSNBC, Fox, they don't really go in with the facts, you know. And so yeah, I find that very interesting that, you know, people, the corporate media is like, oh Bernie Sanders this, Bernie Sanders that, and it's just sad because, you know, you have people saying unite the party, unite the party, unite the party, but they're not uniting the party when it comes to Bernie Sanders. They're saying, you know, Bernie Sanders has been smeared by Elizabeth Warren, his friend. I think that was probably the deepest wound. That was, to me, the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. And the fact that she's continuing to do that to do it. When they asked her about Bernie Sanders being disliked, she brushed it off. Like, that's disgusting. I said it from the beginning. She is not Bernie supporter. All these, not all these progressives, because Kyle Kalinske and Michael Figueroa, they actually do like Tulsi Gabbard. They may not agree with some of her policy, but they have agreed, well, at least Kyle Kalinske, I've heard him say that after Bernie Sanders, her platform would probably be the most progressive platform, especially when it comes to Medicare for all. So, like, for me, it's like you have people like the Young Turks, who actually has the biggest Decade News, independent news outlet, but they never talk about Tulsi Gabbard. They never talk about Tulsi Gabbard. And I wonder if that's because the person who gave them $20 million to start their channel is actually a Hillary supporter. I wonder if that's the reason why. The Young Turks got $20 million from an individual who is a Hillary Clinton supporter to start the Young Turks, which is perfectly fine. But then for me, that shows you're not really an independent news source. That's what it shows me. Because you got $20 million to start your business. And maybe that's why you guys were behind Hillary Clinton back in 2016 when you did have a progressive candidate in Jill Stein. Yes, you guys may have interviewed her. Yes, you guys may have, sat down with her and whatever, but you guys didn't back her up when it meant something. You guys pulled an Elizabeth Warren on Jill Stein. That's what you guys did. And that's the God's honest truth. And that's why I never understood, like, Tulsi Gabbard in 2016 risked her political career. Tulsi Gabbard risked her political career to endorse Bernie Sanders. She did that. That was her. No other candidate did. At that point, no other politician had done that. And at that point, she had won Congress about 5 or 6 times, because I think she won 7 altogether. So, she did that. You mean to tell me she's not a progressive? She's the only one who stood behind Bernie, and she's not a progressive. She stood behind Bernie when it meant something, not when it was convenient. When it meant something. And for the Young Turks to really sit there and downplay Tulsi Gabbard, to me, it's disgusting. It is really disgusting. You want to talk about substance? Talk about her going against the Patriot Act. Talk about her going against all of Donald Trump's military budget increases, and Elizabeth Warren actually was for them. Talk about things like that. But you guys don't do that. You guys don't do that. You guys sit there. I've heard Jen say that he agrees with Tulsi about 90% of the time. But you never ever talk about the times you agree with her. You don't. You really don't. And to me, that's sad. That really is sad. And I find it disheartening that people who are supposed to be progressives aren't progressives. They claim that they are, and just because you support Bernie doesn't necessarily make you a progressive in a sense where you're not being objective. You're really not. You're letting your emotions get the best of you, and to me, that's really messed up. Like, you guys are for AOC, which is cool, whatever the case may be. Have you guys spoken to any of her constituents? Have you guys asked any of her constituents what has she done for the Bronx or for Queens? Have you guys asked any of those questions to any of her constituents? Of course not. You guys sit there and see what she says when she's in Congress, but you guys don't sit there and actually ask the people who she is supposed to be representing. You guys don't do that, because if you guys were to do that, you would see that they don't support her. And a lot of her campaign contributions are coming from different places in different states and they're not coming from her constituents. That's something you guys don't talk about. You guys don't talk about things like that. And to me, that's sad. That's sad. As somebody who wants to run for a political office, that's sad, because I would feel like if you guys were to ever talk about me, it would be all negative. All negative. Because I don't agree with you guys on a lot of what you guys say. I consider myself a progressive. I believe in Medicare for all. I believe in universal health care. I believe in eliminating student debt. I believe in tuition-free college. I believe in eliminating college debt. I believe in all of these things. From the bottom of my heart, I do. I really do. But you have to ask what are these representatives doing for their constituents at this point in time? That's what you have to ask. You guys keep talking about impeachment. Oh, Adam Schiff this and yay, Adam Schiff. No, I don't care about that. Real Americans, what we care about, and yes, we do care about getting Donald Trump out of office. But what we also care about is who's going to follow him. Who's going to be behind Donald Trump. And yes, we all want it to be Bernie Sanders. Most of us do. I do. I would love it. I think Bernie Sanders, VP, should either be Nina Turner or Tulsi Gabbard. That's it. At one point, did I think it should have been Elizabeth Warren? Yes, but Elizabeth Warren has shown her true colors, and she's disgusting. And I wish somebody on the Young Turks would say that. Oh, you're letting your emotions get the best of you. No, I'm letting what she is saying speak for itself. What she is saying is speaking for itself. It's not me. It's her. It's Elizabeth Warren. It was Kamala Harris. It's Pete Buttigieg. It's everybody. It was Cory Booker. It's everybody. Like, your record speaks for itself. And I'm not gonna say I agree with every thing that Tulsi Gabbard has ever supported. No, of course not. I don't agree with everything Bernie Sanders talks about. I don't believe minimum wage should be $15 an hour for every state in the United States. That's my opinion. There are states that can do like $12, $13, $14 an hour. And yes, that dollar does make a difference. I'm not going to lie. I don't believe that we should be helping all these other countries taking in immigrants. Whether it's a white country, whether it's African American country, whether it's this, that, or the third. I believe we need to help home first. And what's wrong with saying that? What's wrong with saying, you know what? We need to help ourselves before we can help anybody else. What is wrong with that? There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's not to say we will never help them. It's just to say, you know what? We are actually at a deficit right now. And the deficit is growing. You know what? Let's take care of that first before we bring more immigrants into this country. Any type of immigrant. I'm not even talking about color at this point. I'm not saying whether it's from Latin America, whether it's from Europe, whether it's from, I'm not talking about color. I'm just talking about we need to help out. What's wrong with saying that? If you say that, oh my God, it's the end of the world. It's the end of the world. No, that's what I don't believe. When it comes down to immigration, I don't necessarily support any of the Democrats when it comes to immigration. That's just my belief. If there was a fact out there that can prove me wrong, so be it. I don't believe that welfare should be a way that people actually live their lives. Again, I know a lot of people who stay on welfare because they feel like they get more out of welfare than they would working. Why? Because inflation has not kept up with the price of goods. That's why. Do I necessarily blame them 110%? No, I don't. But there are programs that they can go on that will help them get jobs. But anyway, that's besides the point. I was rambling. I think going back to the original statement about Tulsi Gabbard and Hillary Clinton, again, it's not about winning. It's about showing Hillary Clinton to bow down, bitch. Bow the fuck down. Anyway, like, share, and subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Deuces.